It's not just about what color eyes you have, what color hair. You know, you can walk down the street and find 45 people that have the same color hair and eyes that you have. That isn't what it's about. It's about all the little things that you do, the way you walk, the way you hold yourself, the way you cock your head or raise your eyebrow, or just all kinds of things that go into what we call the genetic markers. And when you can get into a family where you start recognizing some of those things that you know about yourself, you can begin to just breathe. You can begin to know that it's okay to be me. And that can help that personality become more, make it blossom, make it metamorphose, you know, because it needs to have, I guess, permission in some way. And finding a biological family can help that personality development a great deal, because it's not that you're going to be just like your birth mother or just like your birth father or any of your siblings, but you're going to recognize parts of yourself within that family in all aspects. It may be a great aunt or something that you feel the most attuned to or something, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that you have a reflection of yourself. And we have no idea, those of us who've always been within our biological families, how very important that reflection of yourself can be, because we just take it for granted. Yeah, we see ourselves and our family around us all the time. And we don't even appreciate it very much. Sometimes we very much disappreciate it, if there's such a word, or don't appreciate it. But adoptees keep looking for those similarities, and they just need that validation for self. There's something about the human condition that needs validation for self. I mean, we know that from children. That's why we praise them for things and why we tell them what, you know, how well they're doing and so on and so forth. That gives them the sense that they can do that for themselves later on. But when your whole being isn't being reflected back, when the whole person you are, you don't see anywhere around you, it is a big inhibitor to the development of a person's personality, the person's self, real true authentic self. So finding that biological family is important in that sense. And I just believe that everyone has the right to do that, and it can be a very big step in their knowing who they are. One of the greatest hindrances to people knowing the truth about themselves has been sealed records in this country. All but 6 states, I believe, have sealed records of one sort or another, and make it very difficult for adopted people to know who they are. Sealed records are completely outdated. They are obstructionist and draconian and are of no use whatsoever. So it doesn't make any sense to have the record sealed, and it makes a lot of sense to allow people to know, at least have their original birth certificate with that information, and as much information as they can get about themselves. Regardless of what adoptees find out about their birth families, it's better for them to know the truth, because not knowing the truth is always having this void in your life. There's something about yourself that you are always wondering about. So most people can deal with the truth. What they can't deal with is the unknown. I mean, you find this out when people have children missing. You know, it's terrible to find out that the child that is missing is dead. But they say there's a big relief in knowing what happened and in just not knowing. And I believe adoptees feel the same way. If they don't know who their parents are, if they don't know the circumstances, then they're always wondering. There's this big void in their lives, and they just need to know the truth. People can deal with the truth. If we're talking about right to privacy, why is it that the social worker who has all those files can know who a person's ancestors are, but the person who's involved, who cares really about these ancestors, can't know? I mean, there are lots of people that have access to those files, so they're not really private. And but the people that really need to know, the people that are involved, whose names are on those papers, are the ones that it's kept private from. This is not privacy, this is secrecy. There's a difference between secrecy and privacy. When something is kept from you about you, that's secrecy. Privacy is when you keep it out of the public domain. And this is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about secrets. Psychologically, opening records would be a big boon to adoptees because it would show them that, well, number one, that they're now adults and that they can have the same rights as every other adult. And also, it would show them that this isn't a big secret. There's nothing wrong with your ancestry. It's just that we had these crazy laws that we need to undo here. But I do believe that they would be better served by having the records opened. There's nothing psychologically good about having those records closed. It's very damaging. It makes it seem as if something's wrong with their family, something's wrong with them because they can't know, and there's nothing good about it. So opening records would be very beneficial psychologically to adoptees as well as genetically and biologically. There is a great trend in our country right now to know our genetic history. Genealogy is a big thing. It's all over the internet. You can zip in on these different websites and find out who your ancestors are. And a lot of people are doing a lot of research on who their ancestors are. Is there some reason that adopted people are not allowed to do this? Is there some reason that a whole segment of our population is cut off from this particular right that everyone else has and seems to think is important? Genealogy is very important. Knowing who you are, where you came from, is very important. I think it was Erik Erikson that said you can't know where you're going unless you know where you came from. And a lot of adoptees don't know where they're going. A lot of them are really stuck in or paralyzed in their lives, not knowing where they want to go, where they need to go. And I believe that our society as a whole would benefit if all this was opened up. There is no reason in our society to keep it closed. There's no benefit to society in itself to keep these records closed. It's not a matter of if I have one mother, I can't have the other. I mean, as far as adoptees are, they have two mothers, they have two fathers. That's all there is to it. That's the way you have to see it. You have two mothers and you have two fathers. I mean, if you're in a step family, you have even more than that. But let's not get carried away here. So if a mother realizes that, and if she realizes that the fantasy that the child has can be even greater than whatever reality there is, reality is a leveling thing, I think. And there is a lot of fear there that makes people want to keep these records sealed, but fear is a paralyzer. It just keeps everybody in a terrible state. We need to allow flexibility. We need to allow for people to breathe and to really have true relationships. There's a lot of falseness in the relationships that happen in adoption if there isn't truth connected to it.